Welcome to this edition of Business Now, right here on Zodiak. My name is Banda. Stories making headlines in this edition. We take a special focus on the Malawi International Trade Fair, which is in its 34th edition, happening at Chichiri Trade Fair grounds in Banda. A major player in the insurance industry is eyeing convincing farmers to invest given the raging climatic shocks. We have these stories and many more, but let's get a focus on the 34th International Trade Fair right here at the Chichiri Trade Fair grounds in Banda. The 34th International Trade Fair has gotten underway in the commercial capital Banda under the theme of boosting Malawi's export capacity through enhanced production. What has transpired here, though, is that the private sector feels taxes are a hindrance to achieving this aspiration. Wise Rapidi is the president of the Malawi Confederations of Chambers of Commerce and Industry, MCCCI, who made the remarks at the opening of this trade exhibition.
Taxes are expensive. Okay, I mentioned over 50% in taxes. If someone just opened their company, you will see that there will be taxes like on the services, there will be like 20% of holding tax. There will be VAT at 16.5%. You make a profit, you'll be charged about 30 to 35% on income tax. So necessarily it's above 50% for these guys that are coming in. And the law says once you've operated for 2 years, you would have gotten the tax clearance, then the withholding tax is removed. So we're saying nowadays we've got the national IDs. Maybe those things were making sense when we didn't have the national IDs. Now we've got the national IDs. Can we give these people a chance? We let them come in with an understanding that these people will not run from the taxes. If they run, you can block their accounts at the bank or whatever using the national IDs. So let them operate for 1 to 2 years. If after a year, this person is running off from taxes, then now you can penalize and say, we want to pre-correct withholding tax. Can we give them a chance? So the moment you give them a chance and maybe remove this, because if you look at the companies that have operated for more years, you've removed the withholding tax. So their taxes have gone a bit low. While ideally we're supposed to be promoting the guys that are coming in, we've got more people that should be paying taxes and help us to raise the money that MRA is looking at.
Minister of Trade, Sosten Gwengwe, says government needs to run on taxes, but it is open to discussion.
There is need for continuous engagement just to make sure that the business environment continues improving, because business environment, you look at policies, and this could be tax policies or be general policies, and it would also be the legal framework. And I think there are strides that are being made. There's a lot of collaboration between the private sector and the public sector, and people are talking, but there will be times when perhaps the businessman would feel that the tax needs to be reduced. It's not unexpected. You would expect private sector to be lobbying for such kind of things, but it goes down to government to look at such kind of concerns and see how best to compromise so that business flourishes, but also at the same time government collects something for other essential services. So what MCCCI has said has been noted, and will continue engagement in various private and public fora.
The Malawi Stock Exchange is emphasizing the need of good corporate governance in the country. Well, he says good corporate governance is a precursor for firms that are intending to list on the stock market. Not only those that are on the stock market, but others that are doing business in the country. Let's hear from John Robson Kamanga.
On the Malawi Stock Exchange, in terms of corporate governance, it's doing quite well. Because in terms of corporate governance, we're looking at basically issues of transparency and disclosures, especially time disclosure to the stakeholders of the companies. You have seen that within our listed companies, there's enshrinement of regulations on when the listed companies are going to provide that information to the general public, especially now in terms of our revised listings requirements. That after 6 months, let's say on the interim reports, 3 months actually after the expiry of the 6 months, they're supposed to come to the market in terms of the information which actually the stakeholders, especially I would say the shareholders, are supposed to have. And then on annual statements, what we're saying is that within 4 months, after the year end, they're supposed to actually to release that to the general public. If they are not actually doing that, what we're saying is that within the same 4 months, they should come up what we call with the interim results, which are unaudited, which means that investors, they can still make an informed decision based on actually the information which is available to the general public. So in terms of corporate governance, we are doing quite well in terms of listed companies. However, there are some pitfalls, especially in terms of actually the general public with regards to some of the companies. You find that one of the issues which is very much actually a pitfall within the corporate governance, we're looking at in terms of board composition. You find that board composition is very paramount in terms of a company, because corporate governance is about the structure and systems you have put in place for proper direction of the company. And therefore, you need a proper or well-structured board composition, which should be in a position actually to steer the company for the benefit of the shareholders in terms of wealth creation, but also to the general public in terms of job creation. The other aspect is actually which were found in some of actually companies which are not listed is in terms of disclosure and reporting. You find that there isn't a mechanism whereby the shareholders of the company, they get information on a timely basis, because the shareholder makes the investment decision based on the information which is available on their fingertips. So without information, even you find that even the companies themselves, I've had actually some of the state-owned companies, you find that they have operated maybe for about 3 to 4 years. They don't have audited accounts. So you tend to wonder, where are you taking the company? You don't know where you are coming and you don't know where you are going. Therefore, when actually you come on the stock market, especially on the capital markets, issues of actual corporate governance is quite paramount in terms of timely disclosure of information. The other aspect which we're looking at is in terms of accountability. To whom are you accountable? You find that some of the companies, you find that they have no accountability, either to the stakeholders as well as actually to the to other regulatory. So on the capital market, you find that at least most of the companies, they're accountable either to the Malawi Stock Exchange or also accountable to the registrar of financial institutions as well as to the registrar of company. So there is that framework of accountability, and some of these pitfalls, you find that they're being addressed, having put in place the structures which help in terms of accountability. So what I would say that at the capital market, the issues of corporate governance, they're quite paramount and we're faring quite well.
Presken is one of the companies that intends to list on the stock market. Its Chief Executive Officer is Bison Command, who is not sure or is yet to disclose as just to when the company is going to list, but also tackles issues to do with good corporate governance.
Malawi Stock Exchange is doing good in terms of bringing awareness to both listed companies and also would-be listing companies on the governance structures and also the requirements for listing by the companies that are being listed with regards to corporate governance and environmental and social governance. Corporate governance is normal, the normal way of doing business, and many companies we already do follow corporate governance, but you should also be aware that corporate governance is an evolving area of business. Many things are coming up, and it's important that we gather like this to continue talking to each other, giving updates and updating all of us that things that are trending and so on and so forth. As Presken, we are exploring, our shareholders are discussing, and I think very soon we should be able to disclose the dates, but I hope we can close this very soon.
Still on the stock market, listed telecommunications provider TNM did say in the week ending that it has fully restored its internet connectivity after 2 of its undersea cables were cut. We spoke to the Chief Executive Officer, Michelle Helbert, who did say the cost of restoring everything and the loss of revenue has cost about 4 billion kwacha. That's 3 billion. That's another 4 billion in restoring the connectivity and 1 billion kwacha loss in revenue. Let's hear from Herbert the strides made and, of course, the loss in revenue, which has also resulted to the loss of 40,000 of its customers on the network.
What happened is that there were 2 submarine cable cuts on the coast of South Africa, 42 kilometers outside the coast of South Africa. But equally, there were 2 submarine cuts, or several submarine cuts, in the Red Sea based on the war in Gaza that still have not repaired. Submarine cuts themselves are extremely rare. One cut happens maybe once every 5 years. But not only did we have 2 cuts, we had 2 series of cuts within a few months. The last cuts that were done in South Africa happened on May 12th. And it affected 8 countries, including Malawi, and it affected over 80 million people. So when you have a submarine cut, which can take weeks for specialized equipment, ships, crews, expertise to go fix it, we had to find ways to get to other submarine cables over land, over the fiber that's going through different countries to get to other access points. So what we did is that we built 3 additional routes through Namibia, through Zambia, and through Mozambique to get to other landing stations to connect onto these global superhighways, the submarine cables. So we have the existing ones that we managed to reroute, and we built new ones. So that did 2 things. First, it added resilience, because unfortunately, terrestrial fiber cuts a lot. Construction, vandalism, it cuts. So, and the second thing is, every time that we add a route, it adds capacity. So we diversified our routes. We created more routes. So before we had 4, now in total we'll have 8. And of course, those 8 now, we go from 40 and we double it to 80. Crisis and everything that we've done, we will have spent, by the time it's finished, roughly about 4 billion kwacha. So we're doing 2 things to reward our customers, or to thank our customers through the difficult period. First, those whose bundles ran out during the week, the crisis week, we're actually extending into this week, actually all of them into this week. So whatever expired last week, they can keep using it now today to the end of this week. So we've depending on what kind of bundle it is, if it's a daily bundle, it's been extended 1 more day this week. A weekly bundle has been extended another week this week. And the monthly bundles will be extended again another week or more when they expired last week. All right, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, we also, because people had a bad experience last week, now they have a great experience. So we want to give them free data to have that good experience, to try us again. So we're giving free data to the daily user, so much for the day, to weekly user, a little bit more for the week, and to the monthly user, even more, for them to experience our new internet.
The country's agriculture sector contributes about 22 to 23% of the country's GDP. But of recent years, the country has been faced with various different climatic shocks, weather-related, which affect production in fields. Well, while government is looking at agriculture as one of the pillars to boosting the country's economy, a player in the insurance sector is looking at asking farmers to invest in insurance to save them or to cushion them from climatic shocks. Well, Beaton Insurance heads were in the country to talk to the new board of its strategic direction, penetration to the less insured. First of all, we do speak to Kuria Michiru, who is the Beaton's group chairperson, and Tom Gitogo, who is the group managing director, just to share their vision and, of course, what kind of knowledge are they sharing to the new board of directors in Malawi.
We have an induction for our new directors. We have 3 new directors who've been appointed by Beaton. We believe in always having local directors who help us with the network and really understanding the local environment. So we have a new chairman, who is Benedicto Koma. We have another director, who is Robert Kapiapia. And then we have Gift Chikwakwa. Those are 3 new directors who've been appointed. And we wanted just to come and make sure that they understand Beaton, they understand what Beaton Holdings is thinking in terms of the strategy, and also for us to understand the local market. It's my first time to Malawi, so I'm excited to come to Malawi for the first time. there's a lot of learnings for us. It's a different market, but we've been here for a long time, and Britam has been doing very, very well. As you know, we are second in the market, second to another local company, but we think that we can do better in Malawi. We think there's a huge opportunity for growth, and we are here to support our local teams to obtain that growth. The group that we are part of is in 7 countries, and we are in sub-Saharan Africa, and we want to be the largest insurer, and we actually are the largest insurer in the regions that we operate. And we want to be local. We want to solve local problems. And we are looking at ways in which we can understand the local economy, understand what the local governments are trying to do. In most of our countries, agriculture is a big thing. So we're looking to see what can we do to help farmers to mitigate those risks. Right now, you know, we have had floods in Kenya. You had floods and a cyclone here, I think last year. And climate change is real. And one of the things we're trying to do is to create products, and our MD will talk about that, that speak to farmers, speak to the climate change issues, so that we can be relevant. So we want to be relevant. We want to understand what is the government strategy and how can we be part of the local economy and the local business that is here.
So Britam has been in operation in Kenya for 60 years. In fact, next year we will be celebrating our 60th anniversary. With that period of time, we have learned 1 or 2 things about the insurance market in Africa in terms of how we can adopt it from what we inherited, a lot of UK influence in our insurance. And it is that experience that we have gained in the markets that we have operated in, largely Kenya, that we want to see what we can do to make a positive impact in the countries that we operate, including here in Malawi. Like in Kenya, insurance penetration here in Malawi is quite low.
Investor and entrepreneur Benedicto Benankoma is Britam's new board chairman, and we asked him his vision.
Our aspirations, and indeed my own aspirations, having gotten into this position, is to ensure that there is enhancement in penetration into the market. There's low penetration in the market, to bring about awareness that they need insurance, and more so now that there's a lot of headwinds coming from climate change. We've seen El Nino, we've seen the cyclones that have affected us, the floods that happened at the lake. So these have affected us, and it is now time for us to engage a lot of stakeholders, our clients, and even the potential clients, to start to access insurance products. Initially, in the past, it's been brick and mortar, where people would walk into the offices to get insurance, or indeed at the borders. But now we're trying to leverage on a lot of platforms. We're reaching out through the partnerships that we have with mobile companies, but also we are trying to really stamp up presence in the media, be it print, the digital media, so that people are aware of what we are offering.
EcoBank has trained SMEs on the essentials and the importance of business management and skills for SMEs on how to leverage on the African Continental Free Trade Area, aimed at enhancing the business landscape in the country. George Puza is from EcoBank, and we ask him what opportunities are there on the African Continental Free Trade Area and how SMEs in the country can leverage on that.
SMEs play a critical role in development of any country, and we believe that a vibrant SME sector can play its meaningful role in development of our country, Malawi. As EcoBank, we have access to a lot of information that we believe is beneficial to the SMEs. So we saw it necessary to bring together various SMEs. We're not just looking at our customers only, but we've invited even SMEs that are not our customers to share with them various strategies, how they can take their businesses to the next level, how they can have better visions for their business records, and also how they can interact with banks and financial institutions to be able to benefit from there. We have also invited other stakeholders to share information with them and share with them opportunities that are available not just locally but even on the export market. As we are aware, Forex is one of the key challenges that we're facing in this country, and as a nation we need to build our capacity to export. So we'd like to bring our SMEs to the level where they are able to explore international opportunities and export and alleviate the problem of Forex that we have in the country. So we have stakeholders like the MITC, we have DHL, who are also here to share with the SMEs on how they can take their businesses to the next level. One of the key issues that we are addressing in this SME clinic is how can SMEs manage their businesses to a level that they are able to be bankable enough to financial institutions, and also how they can interact with financial institutions so that they are able to obtain the financing that they require. As EcoBank, we are one of the key players on this market in terms of SME financing. So this will also be an opportunity for us to identify any funding gaps that the SME market has in this country, and we'll be able to reposition to support them even more effectively through this interaction.
Well, Katie Gisambi is one of the SMEs entrepreneurs and held EcoBank for the training and of course the knowledge that was shared.
We started exporting in 2011, and through these years we've managed to penetrate the European market, in that at the moment we are exporting to Germany, UK, France, the Netherlands, Italy and Spain. Within the African continent, we are exporting to South Africa, Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya, and most recently we are also getting inquiries from countries like Ethiopia and some countries in the MENA region as well. The major successes that I can talk about is that as we are progressing through the years, we can actually see that the volumes that we are exporting are actually growing, and also in terms of market penetration, we are able now to penetrate into more countries, and in terms of quality management as well, through the trainings and the different trade fairs that we've attended through the years, we've started to master the issue of quality management in terms of export, marketing and sales, and also that we are able now to get, instead of us chasing the market, we are now able to get inquiries from the market coming into us, like inflows to us, which shows that now our name can be recognized on the international markets now. The major challenges, I can say that it's mostly on the production side, in that, for example, for Beza chilies is a very high value product which comes out of a few African countries, especially in Central Africa, and you find that the production levels are not that much on the higher side, because maybe most smallholder farmers don't know about it. So sometimes we get orders that are way above the volumes that Malawi as a whole can produce. Apart from that, I can also say that the issue of export financing is also a hard one, because sometimes we get orders that are way above our finances. So we need to act fast to make sure that we deliver to the client, and sometimes to access financing from our local banks, it takes too long, to the extent that sometimes you end up losing that order because you can't meet the timelines. Yeah. As a business, this meeting is quite significant for us, because it's going to open up and maybe even bring out what the banks are putting on offer in terms of financing for businesses that are in exports. And also because it has got a leeway into the issue of the African Free Continental Trade Area, we still want to understand more and build up on the experiences that we had in at the conference that we attended in Cairo some months back. So we want to see that as Malawi now, where do we stand at the moment, what are the opportunities there, and how best are the banks going to support us as SMEs and exports.
Well, this is where we've come to the end of this edition of Business Now, right here on Zodiac. Until next time, my name is Banda, and it's goodbye.